Hey everybody, Eric here from the Mature Minded Gamers Group. We are bringing you our very first hype train of 2021. I can't believe it's almost April and we're just now getting to the first one. Been a bit of a slow year. We have had some surprise hits like Valheim, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet. So I'm very excited to start us out with Outriders. This game is developed by Square Enix and People Can Fly, and man, it has a lot of character. Playing the demo, which is still available right now if you haven't checked it out, it gave me a lot of excitement for this game. And the very first video we're going to start in this hype train is us breaking down our thoughts on the video and the different classes. Then after that, we're going to roll on to some official videos and trailers from the Outriders team, breaking down each class individually, and then going to do end everything with the official trailer. And this game's coming out April 1st, and that's no joke. Let's get to the hype train right now. Hey everybody, Eric here from the Mature Minded Gamers Group. We're going to take a look at Outriders. There is a free demo that just released yesterday on Steam. You can play this up until the release on April the 1st. It offers 4 different classes, progression up to level 7, a bunch of different world tiers, and yeah, your progress actually carries over to the main game, which is really cool. I'm glad they've done this. It gives you a chance to test all 4 of the classes and pick out which one your favorite is. This does offer 1 to 3 player game sessions right now. I do not know if that's going to be permanent after the demo is over. The crafting is not in the game yet. That's going to actually happen after the demo, they've said. So we don't get really a taste for the crafting. But the rest of the game, what we've seen so far, I'm very impressed with. It gives me some Gears of War, some Destiny, even a little bit of Anthem vibes almost with the special powers and stuff. So far, I've really enjoyed my time with the game. Let's break down some of the key aspects of it right now.
Alright, so this is the 4 classes you can pick. The first one is the Technomancer, long-range support with gadgets. You can manipulate the anomaly to animate constructs and bend them to your will, aiding allies and killing enemies from afar. As a Technomancer, you will recover a portion of the damage you deal as health. Next up, you have the Pyromancer, medium-range conjurer of fire. Cover foes in flames, incinerate entire squads, and heal your own wounds as enemies fall to your inferno. As the Pyromancer, you will recover health whenever enemies marked by your skills are killed. Next up, the Trickster. This is the close-ranged, hit-and-run space-time. Bend the walls of space and time to appear out of nowhere. Assassinate your enemies and return to safety in the blink of an eye. As a Trickster, each enemy killed in close range heals you and grants a portion of shield. And lastly, we have the Devastator. Close-range tank, stand your ground. Take point and defend your allies. Ground and foes alike will tremble as you pass. As the Devastator, you will recover health from slain enemies that stood too close. Alright, if you noticed, a trend to heal in this game is done by killing enemies. So this game is not one where you kind of want to stand back if you're taking damage. You kind of want to run in and just try to murder as many people as possible. It actually works really well. I'm kind of glad the way they did it this way. So far, I've been having a lot of fun with the different combats. The Technomancer is the one I've been playing as my main so far. A couple of my friends have been playing the Pyromancer. One of them is playing the Trickster, and then we do have a tank. And so far, I think everybody likes their class choices, but we're all very excited to try the other classes, and hopefully we can come to a nice arrangement for our party once the real game comes out. So that's the class breakdown. Let's move on to the next. Alright, let's take a look at the class tree. As you can see, there's a ton of different abilities that you can unlock on your way. And also at the end, there's 3 main subclasses you can pick for each one of the classes. So there's lots of variation. So being the 4 main classes that you can split up into 3 each, that means there's going to technically be 12 different in-game builds that you can make in this game. And there may be a combination too, depending on how they handle adding more class points to the game, stuff like that. And on top of all that, you're going to have a bunch of skills. As you can see, you can have 3 active at a time, and it looks like unless more is unlocked later, you unlock your last one at level 22. But who knows, maybe this will progress and you'll get more as you advance farther on. I find it really cool. It means there's going to be a bunch of class variation in this game, and I'm pretty excited for that. Alright, next we're going to take a look at the journal. This is where it catalogs everything that you've learned about the game. I normally am not a person who's huge into story, but this game is very intriguing. It has a very unique storyline, and I wanted to know more because the little intro, while it tells you quite a bit as you progress further on, if you wanted to learn more, if you collect the little history and lore books that are spread out through the world, you're going to get a lot of detailed information about what happened, how you guys got there, anything that happened in between. They've really filled in all the gaps with information, and like I said, I normally don't care about this stuff very much, but I was intrigued about this, and so I've clicked and read every one of them I could find, and now I found myself actually hunting for more throughout the world because I want more backstory, which is really unique. Alright, let's take a look at the items in this game. This one's very much a looter shooter in the aspects of enemies, and there's chests spread out through the world that are going to drop you loot. Any class can use any weapon and any gun. Of course, you know, your class may be geared more towards using a short-range weapon than a long-range weapon, but that's different. But I really like the way the sniper rifles feel in this game. I like all the combat so far, to be honest. The abilities are fun to use. The hotkeys are a little bit, it takes a little bit to get used to, but that's just a game thing. And then you can see here's your equipment, and you can also break all these items straight down and get the money in the game, which is kind of nice. And you can see there's different levels of gear, so there's common, uncommon, and you can also click V to look at details of the guns and the equipment and rotate around. I don't know if you'll eventually be able to modify these. I know crafting and stuff is coming later on after you get past the demo, so I'm thinking you probably will be able to modify these equipments and add special abilities and things like that. This is the main hub in the game. It reminded me a lot of these shooter looter games, Destiny and Anthem, all having a main hub where you can kind of go around and pick up lore items, pick up other quests, do things like that. The thing I really liked about this is, like, we ran into a side quest here that actually unlocked a new vendor for us. So hopefully they keep doing that, allowing you to progress and upgrade your hub, making it bigger and better. Now let's take a look at the map real quick. As you can see, you're going to unlock different points on the map, and this is just one, obviously for the demo, one area. You can also do world tiers, which is your difficulty. Harder tiers bring better loot. So I really like it. It seems really easy to use, easy to navigate, and figure out what you're doing.
Alright everybody, that concludes our overview of Outriders demo, currently available on Steam from now until full release on April the 1st. Alright, you can see we really enjoy the game and it kind of got us very excited for it. Hopefully you enjoyed our video that we made. Now we're going to break it down with the official reveal trailer that came out over a year ago. This came out in February of 2020. This kind of gave us our first look at what Outriders was.
We awoke from one nightmare into another. Not on our dying Earth, but somewhere much worse.
Good guys are day one. A good guys are one night in the fire. Good guys are day one. Good guys are one night.
We came to Enoch as our last chance, a chance at a new home. But what we found didn't save humanity. It consumed it. We awoke changed. The anomaly unleashed within us, burning with power. Impossible power. Enoch robs us of our humanity, yet gives us so much more. Each step taking us further from what we were, and closer to what we must become.
All right, that was the announcement trailer, our first look at it, and boy, they did a great job. Excitement, good music. I know I was really pumped after watching that trailer. I had high hopes for the game, and now we're going to break down the classes. Now, there are 4 different classes in this game, and we are going to start out with my personal favorite, the Trickster class. Let's hit it.
Greetings, Outriders. Welcome to the Outriders Spotlight, a collection of videos where you can find out much more about individual topics in the world of Outriders. This is your one-stop shop, the place to be, where you'll have explanations straight from the team behind the game. This is just the start. We'll have plenty of deep dives coming in the future to prepare you for landing on Enoch, so subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll never miss a beat. We're kicking things off with one of the 4 classes you'll be playing as, the Trickster. If there's something you want to know in particular, we've broken the video down into sections. Use the timecodes in the description below this video or just skip along to the part you want to see. Otherwise, sit back and learn everything you need to know about the Assassin class.
As tricksters, we manipulate the fabric of time and space to take out enemies by surprise.
Who is this class for? Players who like to get in and out quick, leaving devastation in your wake. Tricksters are for you. However, because of the way skills and your passives can be customized, certain builds of the Trickster could be used as a tank role for the rest of your group. The choice is yours. Fundamentals. The Trickster is focused around space and time powers and effects. You can see this in the class's melee attack, which stuns and slows enemies hit by it. Oh, and speaking of melee, it isn't one size fits all. Not only do the different classes have melee abilities enhanced by their own unique powers, but there are 2 variations as well. You've got your standard melee when standing still, or your upgraded attack when you activate melee while sprinting. Healing. Within the brutal and violent world of Outriders, there'll come times where you'll be hurt and need to be healed. The key thing to note here is that there aren't any quick fix health potions or magic spells, but playing offensively restores HP instead. This affects your playstyle in that it invites you to play more aggressively, rather than run and duck for cover when your health is low. Your best chance at survival may actually be to teleport to where the fighting is thickest. Taking your enemies down is the key to keeping you alive. Unique to the Trickster, they get healed when killing enemies in close range, and they also get shields, while other classes have their own healing mechanics. Let's explore 4 out of 8 total powers the Trickster has at their fingertips. Each class has 8 powers in total. You'll start off with a single power and unlock more as you level up. The Trickster will feature an additional 4 powers on top of those that we're talking about today, but we'll showcase these later on. Power 1, Temporal Slice. This will be the very first power you unlock as a Trickster, and it's the class's bread and butter. All enemies hit by the slash will be temporarily paralyzed, which is displayed by their skeletons becoming visible and their movement greatly slowing down. Slowing enemies down is a key Trickster skill, as it allows you and your squad mates to pour lead into any enemies caught in the effect. The Temporal Slice is especially effective in combination with other skills that cluster enemies close together. The slice will affect all enemies and allow for maximum damage and kills, which can easily heal a nearly dead Trickster back to full health thanks to the mechanics. Power 2, Borrowed Time. Upon use of this skill, you will instantly gain a percentage of your maximum health as a shield that absorbs damage before your health is affected. Additionally, using the power will create a time clone of yourself in the location that the power was used. You can thereafter freely move about and engage the enemy, or set up a trap. But using the borrowed time again, when your time clone is still active, will teleport you back to the time clone's location. Should you be going into a high-risk combat situation, you may want to use this skill as your quick escape from danger. Just when you're about to die, you can teleport to safety. Power 3. Slow Trap. This power will create a dome around you that slows down enemies and enemy projectiles while still allowing yourself and your allies to move at normal speed. Think of it as your own personal bullet time bubble. This is a skill that can be used both offensively and defensively. Defensive. Activate the dome in the middle of a firefight, and you and your fellow Outriders will be able to sidestep any incoming projectiles or melee attackers. You can also use the slow trap to help in resurrecting a fellow teammate if they've been downed in a particular hotspot. Enoch is also home to many different kinds of enemies, and you may occasionally find yourself swarmed by melee attackers or monsters. Activating slow trap in these circumstances can be an excellent way to trap numerous enemies. Move into a cluster of enemies and activate the dome to make them all move in slow motion. Then, go to town. Power 4. Hunt the Prey. When activated, this skill will allow you to highlight any visible enemy. Using the skill once more will teleport you directly behind them, and you will additionally gain a percentage of your maximum health as a shield, whilst also slowing the enemy it's used on. You can instantly warp across the battlefield to either get yourself into or out of trouble. This skill could even be your opening gambit when first entering a combat encounter. You can warp right into the thick of the enemies and lay waste around you. Alternatively, you can also use it to teleport to single enemies who are separate from the main body of attackers. This should buy you some time and allow you to pick enemies off one by one. As with all classes in Outriders, powers can be hot swapped, as long as they're not on cooldown. You could even change them while in combat, though we'd recommend taking cover to do so, or you may find yourself dead. Powers in Outriders are designed to have relatively short cooldowns. There's essentially no limit to how much you can use them to get the most out of combat. So far, we've mainly looked at 4 powers in isolation, but Outriders truly comes together when you and your squad mates are in the thick of battle, timing your powers perfectly to inflict maximum carnage. Hunt the Prey can be especially effective when combined with Borrowed Time. Teleport into the thick of it using Hunt the Prey, then inflict maximum damage using Temporal Slice or Slow Trap. If running into danger, Borrowed Time can be your ripcord to get you out of it again, while Hunt the Prey is on cooldown. This is only a very simple example of how powers could be chained. You'll no doubt find your own most effective ways of playing Outriders your way. Alter your Trickster. Each class has a tree of class point nodes that you can activate to alter the way your build and skills work. Class points are acquired by leveling up. You won't be able to fill out the entire class tree, but you will be able to respec your nodes to change the way you play. The 3 branches for the Trickster link into the class's fundamentals: movement, damage, and disruption, with each branch providing both major and minor passives. In the Trickster's case, these 3 branches are called Master of Space, Harbinger, and Assassin. There are elements of the fundamentals in all branches. They're intertwined, and you can cross-link them to your personal needs and wishes. The Master of Space branch will generally provide bonuses while the player is moving, and improves your close combat effectiveness. Nodes here will enhance your damage with shotguns and SMGs when you use movement-based skills. The Harbinger is the tank path of the Trickster. This path focuses on providing damage mitigation as well as shield bonuses to provide maximum survivability. And the Assassin branch focuses on skill damage output. Several nodes here provide bonuses when you use damage and movement skills, and the path provides additional anomaly power and skill leech options. Additionally, the equipment you use may impact the way your skills work. An equipment's passives might reduce the cooldown or duration of a skill, or they might alter it on a more vital level, but we'll showcase these in the future.
Alright, that was the Trickster class. Like I said, that's my favorite one from the demo. Next up, we're going to play my second favorite class, the Tank, aka the Devastator. Let's check it out right now.
Greetings, Outriders! Welcome back to our Spotlight series, videos that explore specific features of the game. Today, we are delving into the 3rd class, the ground-shaking, earth-quaking Devastator. There are time codes in the description if you'd like to skip through sections, but if knowing everything there is to know is more your style, keep on watching.
As Devastators, we shatter the Earth around us, a brute force powered by the planet itself.
Who is this class for? At first glance, you may think that Devastators are your typical run-of-the-mill tank class. But once you get to know these not-so-friendly giants, you'll soon realize that they can match the other classes regarding sheer damage and devastation. An important thing to note is that the Devastator can be a real linchpin in determining the flow of battle. With a number of interrupt skills, an accomplished Devastator can effectively shut bosses down. If you love slugging it out with the enemy toe-to-toe, laughing at their pitiful attempts to bring you down, well, the Devastator is your kind of class. Fundamentals. The Devastator is focused around gravitational and Earth-based powers and effects, centered around 3 core tenets: kinetic, protection, and seismic. Its melee type is slightly different from the other classes as it inflicts the bleeding status effect onto enemies hit by it. Bleeding deals damage over time to afflicted enemies. Healing. Devastators recover health when enemies perish around you in close range. Now, we know what you're thinking. Sounds similar to the Trickster, right? Well, there are actually some key differences between these close quarters killing machines. At base level, the difference is that Tricksters get shields for each close range kill, and Devastators just have more HP and armor as standard. But they start to differentiate the more upgrades you get. When upgraded, Devastators can achieve bonuses to armor and health by choosing specific class tree paths and nodes. For example, stealing enemy armor for each enemy slain in close range. An upgraded Devastator will most likely have the most armor and health buffs out of all of the classes. These mechanics mean that if you want to be an unstoppable juggernaut as a Devastator, you will need to keep chasing into the heart of combat, making sure you're always in the thick of it if you want to maintain your health. Powers. Each class has 8 powers in total. You'll start with a single power and unlock more as you level up. In this video, we're showing you 4 of the Devastator's abilities, and we'll showcase the other half in the future. Power 1. Gravity Leap. Upon using Gravity Leap, you will jump into the air and hover there for a few seconds. Activating the power once more whilst targeting an enemy, which will be highlighted in yellow, will cause you to slam down on them, dealing area damage to all nearby enemies. This is an excellent option for quickly launching yourself into the thick of the fight, or maybe exiting combat to isolated, far-away enemies. Remember that Devastators heal when enemies close to them die, so this skill is key to ensuring you'll always be close enough to enemies that are about to perish. This is also an interrupt skill. That means that you can use it to prevent bosses from channeling their own skills. Just make sure that you don't have it on cooldown at those key moments. Power 2. Reflect Bullets. Using Reflect Bullets will activate a shield directly in front of you. While the shield is up, any bullets fired at you will get caught in the shield, preventing all damage. This makes it a great skill to cover your allies while they get into position, or during a team charge at the enemy. However, it isn't just a defensive skill. When the skill duration ends, or when you activate the power again, all of the caught bullets will be sent flying back at nearby enemies. This means that you'll want to chase down the biggest outpourings of lead, catch them, and then throw them right back in the enemy's face. Power 3. Impale. This is the Outriders team's personal favorite Devastator attack. Want to know why? That's why. When using Impale, you select an enemy to interrupt them. This is highly effective when dealing with bosses and their pesky skills, but is also a very useful ability for dealing with mobs too. If the damage dealt by Impale is lethal, the enemy will be speared by a stone spike, granting your squad an armor bonus and health regen for 9 seconds. Impale also has 7 potential modifiers that could be applied to it through gear. For example, the mod Spike Forest, which can be found on a legendary gear set, means that Impale can strike 1 additional target. Safety in numbers? I don't think so. Power 4. Endless Mass. Endless Mass releases a spinning obelisk, which sucks all nearby enemies towards its gravitational center. Think of it as your own personal black hole. Endless Mass is a hugely versatile skill, and will likely form at least part of your strategy when playing with friends. The ability to draw large numbers of enemies into a tightly packed clump means that most other targeted skills, from both Devastators and other classes, can be used to gargantuan effect. As mentioned, these are only half of the Devastator's skills. Subscribe to keep in the loop about the other 4. Power combos. As Devastators feed off close-range kills, they need to lock distances between enemies down very quickly. Combining Endless Mass with Gravity Leap will mean that a Devastator can instantly be amongst the enemy, causing havoc, dishing out damage. Reflect bullets can then be used to minimize damage against you whilst you're the center of attention, before you turn the tables on the enemy. Eat lead, baby! Alter your Devastator. Each class has a tree of class point nodes that you can activate to alter the way your builds and skills work. Class points are acquired by leveling up. You won't be able to fill out the class tree, but you will be able to respec your nodes to switch up your gameplay as you go. The 3 branches for the Devastator are Vanquisher, Warden, and Seismic Shifter, with each branch providing both major and minor passives that affect your character's type of damage focus and survivability. The Vanquisher branch is all about grappling up close and personal with the enemy, and thus provides bonuses for weapons like shotguns or assault rifles. The Warden branch will truly move mountains and is the ultimate tank, with very high bonuses to health, armor, and resistances. The Seismic Shifter branch is most useful at mid-range combat, and focuses on anomaly damage for seismic skills such as Impale. This branch also combines very well with the bleeding status effect that Devastators can inflict. Damage over time fans, you're gonna love this one. Additionally, the equipment you use may impact the way your skills work too. The equipment passives might reduce the cooldown or duration of a skill, or they might alter it on a more fundamental level. But we don't want to spoil the fun too much today, so we will showcase these in another video. So that's our Devastator introduced. No need to shake hands. I mean, they'd probably crush your palm into dust if you did.
Alright, that was the trailer for the Devastator. Amazing class. Man, I have to give the group credit for doing these trailer videos. They are so well done and so full of information. Absolutely fantastic advertising campaign that they did. And I mean, and the game backs it up too, at least so far in the demo, as long as it keeps up with the pace that the early levels has, as far as you can play in the demo and how much fun that the classes are. I think this game is going to be fantastic. All right, we are 2 of 4 classes done. Next up, we're going to bring on the Pyromancer.
Greetings, Outriders! Welcome to our Spotlight series, a collection of videos that delve deeper into specific aspects of the game. Today, we're taking a look at our next class. Crank up the heat because it's the Pyromancer. As always, we've got timecodes in the description if you prefer to skip to a section, but if you want to absorb everything there is to know about our fiery friend, keep on watching.
As pyromancers, we manipulate explosive volcanic energy and devastating walls of flames.
Who is this class for? Players who like to take on hordes of enemies at once. Also, pyromaniacs. Nah, just kidding. Don't actually set things on fire. Unless you're in the game, then set everything on fire. Pyromancers tend to fight at mid-range. They don't have the movement abilities needed to get in and out of combat quickly, like their Trickster brethren, but many of their abilities are area of effect based, meaning you'll want a decent amount of space to line them up, then light them up. Fundamentals. The Pyromancer has 3 core fundamentals that underlies each of their powers. These are Explosive, Immobilize, and Ignite. The Pyromancer is focused around thermal and fire-based powers and effects, which you can even see in the class's melee attacks. Your standard melee attack will deal fire damage to anyone it hits, while also inflicting extra effects as well. It is so much more than a skill just to use in a raw panic. Healing. Even the best combatants get injured from time to time, so knowing how to utilize your unique Pyromancer skills is essential to surviving. As with all of the classes, there are no quick fixes to retaining health. You need to play aggressively to restore HP. In the Pyromancer's case, they can be healed if an enemy dies while marked by their skills. Any Pyromancer skill that damages an enemy will mark them for a set time. This means that Pyromancers can get maximum healing from affecting the greatest amount of enemies possible, and then also ensuring that those same enemies meet a swift death. Powers. Each class has 8 powers in total, starting with a single power and unlocking more as you level up. Many of the Pyromancer's powers inflict a status effect called Burning. This sets enemies on fire and provides a nice bit of damage over time. However, inflicting Burning also momentarily stuns enemies and can be used as an interrupt. But that's enough general power information. Let's check out 4 of the Pyromancer's abilities now. Power 1. Thermal Bomb. Thermal Bomb will set an enemy ablaze and deal additional damage to them over time. If an enemy dies while under the effects of Thermal Bomb, they'll rise into the air and explode in a gory mess, dealing damage to a large radius. Combine this power with a mob of grouped enemies, and the resulting explosion may well wipe the rest of them out too. You don't have to be the one to land the killing blow either. You can tag an enemy and have a fellow Outrider kill them, which will still trigger the thermal bomb going off. Teamwork. Power 2. Ash Blast. Using this skill will apply the status effect Ash to all enemies in a large radius. Ash prevents affected targets from doing anything at all for a few seconds, immobilizing them in a suffocating cloud of dust. A great crowd control ability, Ash Blast can cause large numbers of enemies to briefly freeze in place. This can be combined really well with other powers to hit a maximum number of enemies. And there are scenarios to use Ash Blast both offensively and defensively. Offensive. Use Ash Blast to prevent enemies from escaping any area of effect abilities you or your teammates might be casting. Alternatively, Ash Blast can help you line enemies up for successful headshots, causing maximum damage. Defensive. Ash Blast can also be used to buy you vital breathing room. Ironic, seeing as your foes will be choking on ash. If you're being overwhelmed, use it to freeze enemies in their tracks and fall back to a more manageable distance. Power 3. Heatwave. This is one of the earliest powers you unlock. As the Pyromancer is a medium-range class, you'll want to maintain a little bit of distance between yourself and enemies, and Heatwave is perfect for this. If enemies, particularly melee attackers, try to rush you, Heatwave will provide you with the space you need to be most effective at scalding them into crispy giblets. Heatwave's secondary effect shouldn't be forgotten either. The burn status effect will deal damage over time to all affected enemies, which may well help give you a nice burst of healing if they feel the burn a little bit too literally. Power 4. Overheat. Overheat may only deal a small amount of damage to enemies within a large radius, but it does deal extra damage to enemies that are currently burning, making it a great follow-up skill. Similarly to Heatwave, Overheat is an excellent excellent way of marking numerous foes and strategically setting yourself up for a big burst of healing. It's one of those skills that just gets on with everyone, you know? It synergizes really well with a number of other powers to double down on damage dealt. The definition of supportive. We all need an overheat in our life. As we mentioned before, our Pyro Pow will feature a further 4 powers on top of those that we've shown today, but we will talk about these later down the line. Power combos. Using powers by themselves is all well and good, but utilizing them in combinations is where Outriders truly shines. Heatwave's ability to hit several enemies at once with burning means that Overheat can inflict maximum damage. Thermal Bomb, on the other hand, may only inflict burning onto a single enemy at a time, but the status effect still means that Overheat can be triggered to cause extra damage and ensure the Thermal Bomb carrier dies and triggers the explosion. As mentioned, the Pyromancer is ideally a mid-range fighter who likes to keep enemies at arm's length, and this combo will show you how to do just that. While in battle, Heatwave neutralizes enemies that get too close. Following Heatwave up with Ash Blast will ensure that those enemies remain where they are. Then place a Thermal Bomb amongst the mob and focus all fire on that enemy. If you can kill them before the Ash Blast effect wears off, you can wreak havoc with the Thermal Bomb explosion and benefit from a burst of healing at the same time. And bear in mind, these are only simple examples of how powers could be chained. You'll no doubt find your own most effective ways of playing Outriders in your own style. Alter your Pyromancer. Each class has a tree of class point nodes that you can activate to alter the way your build and skills work. Class points are acquired by leveling up. You won't be able to fill out the entire class tree, but you will be able to respec your nodes to change the way you play. The 3 branches for the Pyromancer are Ashbreaker, Firestorm, and Tempest, with each branch providing both major and minor passives that affect your character's type of damage focus and survivability. The Ashbreaker branch will generally provide bonuses when dealing damage against marked enemies, while also providing a boost in anomaly power. The Firestorm branch is a path focused on maximizing the damage output of skills. This path will allow you to increase your anomaly power, your burning damage, and the skill damage you do on marked enemies. The Tempest branch, on the other hand, helps you fill more of a tank role. The path focuses on maximizing your health bonus and reducing the damage you take from certain sources. One of the more unique passive bonuses you can activate on this path is an automatic revival upon death. That's pretty handy. Additionally, the equipment you use may impact the way your skills work. The gear you equip might reduce the cooldown or duration of a skill, or they may alter it on a more fundamental level. But fear not, we will showcase these bad boys in a future video. And with that, the introduction to our Pyromancer is coming to a close. Keep an eye out on our YouTube channel for future gameplay videos and other spotlights coming soon. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for videos that are hot off the press. We hope you got fired up exploring the sizzling skills of the Pyromancer, and we'll see you next time.
All right, that was the Pyromancer. Boy, that's a hot-looking class, isn't it? Pun intended there. Anyways, we are done with 3 of the 4 classes. The last one's going to be the Technomancer. It's coming up next. I do want to mention that I love how all these classes can heal and kind of do their own little thing. You don't have to have anybody dedicated to healing or tanking or any of that stuff. Now, yes, each class can do certain things better than the others, but it's still pretty diverse. All right, let's get on to the Technomancer.
Greetings, Outriders! Welcome back to our Spotlight series, where we deep dive on an individual aspect of the game. Today, we scope out our 4th and final class, the Technomancer. Enoch's Anomaly Storms might have fried tech for everyone else, but they unleashed abilities for the Technomancer to infuse powers into weaponry at their will. Thus, this class can exploit technology to the most brutal capacity. You can find timecodes in the description if you want to skip to a specific topic, but we recommend sitting back and absorbing all the information on our machinery manipulating Technomancer.
I have become terror.
You can't find
The unseen predator.
You can't find me from
A rupture that obliterates without warning.
Who is this class for? Technomancers will appeal to a huge spread of players, simply thanks to their enormous versatility. However, the Technomancer's skill set will be utilised best by players who pay special attention to the flow of combat, beyond just raw damage. The status effects that Technomancers can inflict, as well as their boss skill interrupts and their unique ability to heal squad mates, mean that they are suited to fill in support roles. That's not to say Technomancers can't bring the pain. Packing an arsenal of weaponry and their summoning abilities, combined with a strong focus on sniper rifles, mean that they are the ideal class for any players intended to lone wolf their way through Enoch. Fundamentals. Technomancers focus their powers around summoning and indirect sources of damage and effects. Spearheading this playstyle are 3 core tenets: Ordnance, Gadget, and Decay. Their unique melee power inflicts the freeze status effect onto those hit by it. Freeze stops an enemy in its tracks, allowing you and your squad mates to focus fire on them. Healing. As we've mentioned in the other class spotlights, the main way to regain health is not via potions or spells, but by playing aggressively. In the Technomancer's case, they recover a portion of the damage they deal to enemies as health. They're a true vampire leech. However, the Technomancer's class passives also increase their damage outputs for both long-range weapons and anomaly power, making sure that the Technomancer's healing passive stays on par with the other classes. Powers. Each Outriders class has 8 powers in total. You'll start with a single power and will unlock more as you level up. Let's check out 5 of the abilities Technomancer has in their collection. Power 1, Tool of Destruction. Question: do you prefer to riddle your enemies with bullets or turn them into a puff of red smoke? Well, why not both? With Tool of Destruction, you can change your preference whenever you want to. See, Tool of Destruction works a little differently to other skills in Outriders, in that it has alternate modes. Activating the skill via button press equips your Technomancer with a rocket launcher, but activating the skill by holding down the button will instead equip a minigun. However, the rocket launcher has the added bonus of interrupting enemies it damages. Let's watch that clip again. That orange bar means an enemy is charging up a skill, but the RPG interrupts them, preventing them from casting it. Which, particularly when going toe-to-toe with bosses and captains, can mean the difference between victory and a team wipeout. Power 2, Fixing Wave. For those of you who prefer to play as support or healer to your mates, first of all, you're awesome, the world needs more of you. Secondly, Fixing Wave may just be your skill of choice. Fixing Wave is a skill design exclusive to the Technomancer, and is the only power in Outriders that can restore health back to yourself, your constructs, and your allies, regardless of distance. Power 3, Pain Launcher. This is one of a number of the Technomancer's construct skills, and will create an automated defense device to damage enemies independently. Conjuring a missile launcher, this will engage in artillery-esque carpet bombing to not only damage enemies, but interrupt them as well. Bear in mind this gadget has a slight setup delay, so you'll need to tactically time it well. But if you pull it off, you can expect to create some awesome combinations with Pain Launcher. Power 4, Blighted Turret. More of a relentless, continuous damage type of person. Q Blighted Turret, a skill that places, yeah, you guessed it, an automated turret. But not only does this weaponry pour lead into your foes, it also inflicts the status condition Toxic. This deals damage over time and can be used to whittle down their health with hit and run tactics. You could use your turrets offensively through strategic placements to bolster your damage output, such as by flanking enemies. Alternatively, you could drop a turret while falling back to a better position, and it will keep your enemies occupied while you get ready to form your next plan of attack. Power 5, Cold Snap. Cold Snap is a large area of effect skill that will freeze all enemies in place. In an offensive scenario, you can use Cold Snap to wreak havoc with your other skills or regular weapons, especially if you manage to catch enemies when they're clumped together. Defensively, Cold Snap will help you prevent melee attackers from swarming you and getting too close. This is particularly useful for players who prefer sniper rifles and long-range combat. And bear in mind, the Technomancer will feature 3 more powers on top of these first 5. Endless opportunities for computer-based carnage. Power combos. The wide range of powers in Outriders gives so much scope for mixing and matching different combinations. Let's check out one example. So, say you're a lone wolf Technomancer being chased by a group of Perforo. Using Cold Snap will freeze the enemies in place, buying you time to retreat and throw a blighted turret in their midst. While they're distracted and getting toxified, initiate Tool of Destruction to conjure a minigun and mow down any stragglers. Alter your Technomancer. Each class has a tree of class point nodes that you can activate to alter the way your build and skills work. Class points are acquired by leveling up. You can't fill out the class tree entirely, but you will be able to respec your nodes to mix up your playstyle. And there are no costs or penalties. Respec your tree at any time. The 3 branches for the Technomancer are as follows: Pestilence, Tech Shaman, and Demolisher, with each branch providing both major and minor passives that affect your character's type of damage focus and survivability. The Pestilence branch flows best with your decay skills and weapons. It's all about increasing the damage you do with guns and provides great bonuses, particularly to sniper rifles or assault rifles. The Tech Shaman is more focused around indirect damage and will boost your turrets, freeze effects, and healing. Notably, the overclocked passive node here will increase your damage significantly whenever you activate gadget skills, but it will also grant you a second chance. The Demolisher path will synergize with the greatest amount of your skills, and nodes here will mean that using your ordnance or gadget skills will impart a host of bonuses and buffs to you, as well as boost your toxic effect damage. Notably, this path also has a node which will inflict toxic on all enemies that you freeze with your melee attack. As well as this, the equipment you use might also influence the way your skills work. The equipment passives might reduce the cooldown or duration of a skill, or they might alter it on a more fundamental level. And there we have it, an introduction to the Outriders tech whiz, but probably not the one you'd want to help set up Grandma's new phone. This was our 4th and final class, but do check out the other spotlights on Trickster, Pyromancer, and Devastator if you haven't already. So that you don't miss any upcoming videos, make sure you subscribe and have notifications turned on. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right, everybody, that wraps up the 4 class trailers. I thought they did a grand job with them. And the last trailer that we're going to watch for the hype train is the official release trailer, signifying that they are going to release the game on April the 1st. Another great trailer here that kind of gives you an overview of the game. And this is going to end the hype train. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, help us keep growing the community here at the MMG, and join our Discord, become a member.
I could smell the storm in your blood. Your stink of Enoch. But you are something even more.
So what? I should play at being a god like you?
I am not playing.
Outriders, a co-op RPG shooter set in a dark, original sci-fi universe. Created by People Can Fly. Previously part of the Epic Games Group, the studio is renowned for developing world-class shooters like Bulletstorm and the Gears of War series.
This can't be happening! You people are insane! All of this is fucking insane!
Oh yeah, it is!
Humankind is bleeding out in the trenches of Enoch, a once beautiful planet ravaged by a mysterious anomaly, hyper-evolving its flora and fauna to purge the virus that is humanity. In other words, you. Now, Enoch is hell off Earth. Leading the colonization advance party, the Outriders are devastated by an early storm. While most of the unit is wiped out, you not only survive, but are left altered, something more than human. Now, with control over time, space, and matter, the Outriders have gained access to devastating anomaly energies. Demigods strolling through the battlefield, the tables have most definitely turned. With the anomaly flowing through their veins, Outriders have split off into 4 classes, each offering a different customizable playstyle and extensive skill tree that, while freely respecable, demands hard choices be made. If you prefer a devious hit-and-run approach, the Trickster's manipulation of time and space will be to your tastes. Deadly up close, the Trickster will annihilate enemies with spectacular powers, such as the Temporal Slice. Or, if death from a distance is more your thing, the Technomancer combines the anomaly's powers with technology. Place deadly turrets or release climate-altering area effect weapons to take down your foe. The Devastator class is a tank in human form, a biological sledgehammer. Difficult to kill and dangerous to be near. The Devastator's control of gravity allows for brutal attacks, such as the Impale ability or Gravity Jump. Finally, there's the Pyromancer, a medium-range class equipped to take out multiple targets at once. You may be easy to kill at close range, but you can leech energy from crowds of enemies or detonate thermal bombs to tear their flesh apart. Regardless of your choice, confidence is everything on the battlegrounds of Enoch. Each class has its own spin on a healing mechanic, which rewards health for performing certain actions that reinforce the class's playstyle. So get out of cover, throw yourself headfirst into the fray, and think aggressive. The Outriders' journey will take them beyond humanity's furthest exploration of Enoch, as they fight to discover the source of a mysterious signal. From the snow-capped heights of Eagle Peaks to dense jungles and arid deserts, deadly enemies that have adapted to their environment await. There's plenty to discover off the beaten path, too. Outriders is rich with side quests and additional story. You may be pulled into a search and rescue mission, drawn in to investigate a menacing cult, or asked to track and kill hyper-evolved creatures in the wild. Each quest allows you to scavenge for new gear and weapons, to wear or trade with the duplicitous street vendors of humanity's new settlements, or NPCs in your own convoy. And then, of course, there's armor and weapon mods, which allow you to further tweak your gear with modifiers that can have a dramatic effect on how your abilities play out in combat. Layer in a full crafting system, and the staggering depth of Outriders' loot system begins to become evident. You'll need to be fully in tune with your gear and abilities if you expect to survive the game's post-campaign content. Expeditions. With a level threshold to take part, Expeditions is only for the hardiest of Outriders, pitting you against the most lethal adversaries Enoch has to offer. Considered a suicide mission by most, your journey through the hellscape of Enoch is made possible thanks to the Outriders Convoy. a mobile hub which moves through the world, which can be customized with body kits, paint jobs, and, oh yeah, the skulls of fallen enemies. Trophies from battle aren't worth much if they can't be shown off. Your convoy will accompany you as you join a friend's game in co-op, where your achievements can get the eyeballs they deserve. This is all just the tip of the iceberg. As the Outriders travel further beyond humanity's reaches, the strange, horrific truths of Enoch begin to reveal themselves.